Hello everyone, my name is Jordan Lewis. This is the ReEvolve Media Revolution podcast, where we interview underground hip-hop artists from across Canada and try and find out the secrets to life that are etched in between what's real and everything else. This episode features Krosst Out. I don't know if this is true for everyone. I'm sure it's more relatable to those closer in age, but I'm finding that age itself is starting to have less of a significance to humans as a species. Now, I would never hint at or suggest at disrespecting an elder, but I might repurpose the idea that wisdom stems from age. There is no doubt in my mind that experience is the greatest teacher of all, but we live in a time of immediate and almost constant surveillance, where we can get so close to the action that we can experience it from several angles with varying intensities and unique pieces to a much larger, convoluted, and perpetually changing puzzle that is life. I'm much more content with the idea that wisdom does not come from knowledge, but instead comes from understanding that we can only keep approaching the truth. In the same way a single event can dramatically change perspectives, maybe we as a collective can have an eye-opening experience and acknowledge the amount of external pressures influencing our opinions and telling us that anything is certain, that something is or isn't. The truth in how powerful boundaries of thought can be within the mind and within reality. How's it going, everybody? I've got Krosst Out here. His name is Aaron. He goes by Krosst Out. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, brother. So your style of music, you kind of fuse punk rock and hip hop. That's kind of your main genre. I don't know if that's right or wrong to say.
Yeah, I mean, I pride myself on being like genre bending, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's very with the times, and it's kind of vital to at least have some cross genre.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of classify the type of music that I do is more like grunge rap, I guess. If we had to get
Grunge rap.
super specific, that's kind of the vibe.
Do you think is that sort of what a general fusion of punk rock and hip hop ends up being, or leans towards?
Not really. I mean, there's I love punk, and I definitely grew up with it, but I feel like I grew up more with rock and grunge to be considered more of the grunge type artists. There's artists out there that are more like punk than me, but I could definitely throw down in a punk show.
Gotcha. So you're saying you'd kind of treat it as totally two separate genres, punk and grunge, having their own identities.
Yeah, I mean, punk, it's they're together. If you look at the history of punk and grunge, grunge came from punk. It's got the veracity of punk, but then also it's the grunge is the punk and metal combination, sort of.
Oh,
right?
Interesting. Yeah. And see, this is good for me to hear because I'm pretty much centralized on hip hop or whatever's been in the mainstream since growing up. But lately, it's obviously been hip hop. So
okay, yeah, it's definitely if you look at more of the history, that's early 90s, late 80s, that's when it was it kind of became, and it's it's largely Seattle based, but yeah, it's more of the combination of the punk and metal. There was the Melvins that were heavy punk, but they influenced a lot of Nirvana and Soundgarden, but yeah, brief history.
That's interesting, man. So wait, you're from Campbellford, Ontario, which is a small town, roughly about 3,000 people, but you currently reside in Toronto, Ontario. It's a big transition.
Yeah,
Huge contrast there.
I've been bouncing around for a little bit, I moved to Ottawa late teens, I guess,
Okay.
and messed around in there, and then moved to Montreal, went to school there, I did audio stuff there, and then I moved to Toronto, so I've been bouncing around for quite a bit.
But are your roots, for all intents and purposes, still in Campbellford, or are you kind of vagrant right now?
I mean, well, right now, we actually evacuated Toronto as well, so now we're back in Montreal.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I mean, I like Montreal. It's also one of those things, everything is so remote now, dude. I agree. This podcast, for instance, what you're across the country, and we're able to do this.
I lost you for a sec there.
Oh, did you? You hear me now?
Oh, I lost you for a sec there. You said this podcast, for instance.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're okay. All right. We're good. Yeah. Okay. So this podcast, for instance, like you're across the country, and
Yeah.
like and we're able to do this, right? So everything's so remote. So that's why, like, I mean, they both cities have their merits. We just kind of felt like it was time to leave Toronto. You know.
Interesting. When did that happen, roughly?
That was during COVID.
During COVID, so within the last like 6 months.
Yeah. Like we left. I guess it would be like beginning of May that I've been here.
Interesting. Nice, man. Okay, so it's not really for any intent or purpose, because usually people move towards Toronto for the music scene, but I guess that makes sense what you're saying, that the ability to create more remotely and do pretty much everything and then still make those trips when need be is still there for you.
Exactly. Like we still record there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, like with like there's a studio that we work out of there. Like, you know, a lot of my friends are still there, and like so it's not like we're abandoned Toronto. Like we're still like actively a part of like the things that go on in Toronto.
Yeah, the scene there. That's really cool, man. And when you say we, who's we?
I mean, we like me and my girlfriend, Melodica.
Aha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
we both do music, so and you know live together and stuff. So
Yeah, that's dope. Okay. Well, so you were giving us a little brief musical history there. What's your involvement with the knowledge there? So how'd you gain that knowledge? Did you go to school for it, or is that just like a passion? Where you were telling me how the grunge rap scene kind of originated out of Seattle, or that spiel you gave me earlier.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I've always had like an interest in music, like just not really like any particular genre, just because like you know like my dad was big into rock and roll, so
Yeah.
I learned about like Dire Straits and Eric Clapton and the Who and that sort of stuff from him, and then eventually like I came into my own with this thing called hip hop, but I had friends that were like metalheads and like super into that, so I had all of these worlds kind of conversing into one. So I've always just had like a knowledge of like rock history and like
Just through being in environments that cater to that, eh? The knowledge.
exactly. Like like the more you kind of progress into music, the more you learn about just different types of music. Like I was a teenager and we were listening to blues, and I really didn't appreciate it, but my dad was like, well, okay, this music that you listen to now arrived from something, and that something is this, so
Yeah.
listen to this is important, kind of thing.
That's really cool, man. So it wasn't really knowledge that you actively seeked out, but that you kind of stumbled upon, and it's just been important.
Exactly.
That's really cool. So in your own personal music history, you've got a lot of experience with live performances, which isn't something a lot of artists these days can say. You've ranged from BC shows in BC, Quebec, New Brunswick. I'd assume there's more. What got you into wanting to be on the stage more so than anything?
I mean, I was doing in high school like theater stuff, like always a drama kid, I guess.
Okay.
And
I see that playing out in your social media as well, where you have that kind of vibe to you.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that I'm more comfortable with myself when I'm on stage, if that makes sense. And I think just like, I mean, what you were saying was like, you know, not a lot of artists have experience like live, and that's true. Like, there's so many artists out there that are just online. They just make music, and like, and then that's cool, man. Like, you can do that. But for me personally, like, I think like it's just who I am. Like the live aspect, just being able to like get up on stage and like rage out for like 20 to 45 minutes at times is some of the best stuff. It can be scary at first if you're not used to it and you're not well rehearsed, but once you get up there and like you just start killing shows, and I think it's like the easiest way. I mean, for me, that's how like the easiest way. I have a personality, but I don't think it reflects too much on social media. Like there's only so much I can do. But like when I get up on stage and then even after stage, like I just like being able to meet people in a live setting, right?
Gotcha. It makes you feel more like yourself then.
Exactly.
That's interesting because you said you're more comfortable on a stage in terms of like performing and like acting in a different role, but then it sounds like you're kind of like more able to act like the person that you are. It's kind of trippy in my head. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but it's like outside or in social media and stuff, you kind of play this different role, but then when you're on stage, you're able to act act like that person that you really want to be or that you truly deep down are.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean,
It's hard to explain.
it is like it's not like I'm pretending to be someone else. It's just like more of me comes out on stage. Like you get to see
Yeah.
who I am because it's so raw. Like if you make a mistake, you can't just be like, okay, it's not like recording, right? Where you're like, let's rewind that back, and take that
Exactly.
again. It's like if you fuck up, man, you fucked up. Like now
You got to
you've
make
got
it up right on the spot.
Exactly, and there's so many times where I've just been like on stage, messed up. I've messed up like an entire verse one time, and
No
this
way.
is like I wasn't too experienced, so I was just like I got blank face and was just like shit like in the microphone. And it was super embarrassing, but like it's surprising also how many people don't catch it.
They just think it's like part of the track or something.
Yeah, or like
Well,
sometimes
it depends
like,
on how you play it off, right?
yeah, sometimes I'll do the same verse again. Like I'll
No,
fuck up.
that's hilarious.
I'll do verse 3 on verse 2 and then verse 3 on verse 3, and people don't realize.
But do you ever tell anyone about it, like shortly after or thereafter? Or are you kind of just the only one who knows, or anybody who actually is like keyed into your music as well knows?
Well, my girlfriend picks up on everything because she knows like all my songs and stuff.
Yeah, does she call you out for it?
Yeah, she's the harshest critic, which is great because then she's like, "Well, you
Nice.
fucked up on this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
That's awesome,
So I
man.
can't, and there's nothing like I can really hide from her. But no one else really notices. I usually point it out because people are like, "Oh man, you were so great." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, man." Like, and it's part of the thing where it's just like I can't take the compliment. So I'm like, "Well, I mean, I fucked up like a lot," and they're like, "Oh,
Because you knew you could have done better.
exactly."
That's so funny. But then, contrary to the shows that you do fuck up a verse, I'm sure you've had shows where you've absolutely just nailed it.
Yeah, that's the best feeling. Like where almost nothing goes wrong. I'm in the zone. Like
I
all
like
the
how you say
people are feeling
almost
it.
nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, usually there's at least one thing that goes wrong, and like, but
Just
it's
a
always
hiccup.
great, man, because then you can just like always improve, right? You're like, oh man, like I messed that up, like
That's the truth, man. And I guess that goes into saying you can never really have a perfect show because you can always improve and always do something better.
for sure. Like just in terms of like my show, it's like I always want to do something better. So there's nothing perfect about every show.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. And I think honestly, even just the level of the amount of your performing, it's a quality of just kind of like a professional in the industry. Another quality that I'm seeing that kind of indicates that is you put out quite a bit of video media or music videos in general. I think that's really cool, and it's not something that a lot of people do as well. So what inspired you to get into that route?
I mean, visuals are important.
I agree.
I know like some people don't do it as much, and like but I just feel like, I mean, for me they're extra important because I feel like they just like encapsulates another portion of a song that you might not get for like it might take
For
the song might
sure.
take on another meaning
I see what you're saying.
or enhance the meaning of a song,
Or you can even go against the grain completely of what your original meaning was and just throw some artistic shit out there, which seems like you've done in some of them, but you do draw. We'll get to them individually. They're super interesting, but you know what I mean?
yeah, I definitely know what you mean. Yeah,
They can kind of be like anything that you want. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because this goes all the way back to, I don't know if this is your first release, but it's the first release I could find, and you did do a music video to it, but Contradiction,
yeah,
in brackets issues, from 2016.
yes.
Is that your first release?
That was kind of, it's like, I guess my first official release. I had been putting out stuff in like 2014 and like 2015.
Sweet. Was it under the name Krosst Out?
It was, yeah. If you scour the internet, you can find it. It's not very good. It's just like there's like some remixes of stuff, and like I'm trying to like I'd always been rapping, but like not recording. And rapping and recording are two different things.
Oh, for sure.
So to be able to like capture what you're trying to put on record is different. So those are my attempts at trying to find myself a little bit more. Contradiction was like the first, I guess, release from me.
The first officially kind of like putting yourself out there and saying, hey, this is the content that I'm going to be creating.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And then shortly after that, you released a 4-track. Is it a 4-track EP? Because on Spotify I found 4 tracks, but then on your YouTube I found another track to add to it, T for One, but that would make it 5. I don't know if that's its entirety.
It's actually 6.
It's 6.
Yeah, but the reason.
Where's the 6th one?
Okay, so Contradiction's not up on Spotify, and T for One is not up on Spotify.
Contradiction is part of it. Okay, I didn't draw that. Okay.
Yeah. The whole Life of the Party EP is 6 songs. But I didn't do it that way just because I thought I might get in trouble just by like posting. The guy that I was working with, he was also my video editor. So the guy that does all my videos also did a lot of the songs for Life of the Party. In
terms of like production.
Yeah,
okay.
Like his production style is he takes samples. Most people take samples, but he was taking samples of like alternative music or like rock music. And,
I see what you're saying.
So I don't know if you can notice it, but there's the I got a dizzy feeling in my head, like that part in Contradiction.
Yeah.
Is like a Beatles part.
Interesting.
And then the T for One thing. The T for One is a direct like Led Zeppelin sample. Like there's a lot of samples in those 2 songs. There's like Led Zeppelin, there's Red Hot Chili Peppers, there's Tool, there's the Beatles, there's like all these kind of things that are like meshed in. So I don't think you could really get away with like making money off it. So that's why it's not up there.
That's fair. Is it so? But you're saying it kind of. I guess these are the 2 tracks where they're probably the least cut and chopped, and they're most kind of the pure original form of the samples.
Yeah, they're sometimes you can notice it. I didn't notice it at first, but then there was other people that would message me, be like, "Yo, that's like a direct like Beatles sample."
Oh, no way! So you didn't even know initially?
No, I because I'm not a huge Beatles fan.
That's totally fair, yeah.
So I couldn't tell you like the Beatles sample, but now that I know the song, like that's what that is. So just to avoid like getting in trouble like for future or like anything, just to never mind the bullshit, I just didn't put it up.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. But I don't know. Oh no, I guess I did find Contradiction. The only reason I knew T for One was for sure on the EP was because it had the album cover, whereas Contradiction, I think it was just the music video. I don't know.
It has different artwork. Because it was the first single, we went with like artwork, and then
that makes sense.
Yeah,
and then you landed on the Life of the Party artwork. You probably didn't even have the name at that point, or did you?
I think I did. Yeah,
you did. So how did this EP kind of come about? It was probably a lot of tracks that were in the making for a while, and then this is your first kind of official release, right?
Yeah, well, it was like it just kind of started. The EP starts off with Skin Crawler, which then is like that was like the first track that we did. I had met my buddy Daniel just working this job in Toronto. It was like early 2015, and he was like, yeah, like I got some stuff that like could really sound good with some hip hop vocals, man. So like let's link up and maybe do some stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. So he had this song already made, and I kind of just took it and then started I wrote a rap to it, and then like we recorded it, and then that's how I met my buddy Eric, who does all the video stuff. And then he's like, yo, like I do some stuff too, would you be interested in like working together? So then the 2 of us, or well the 3 of us, I guess, we just started making stuff, and then it just kind of started spiraling into this whole what is Life of the Party. And then I took like those songs and brought them to another guy that I know who works out of Ink Distortion Music in Toronto, and so we crafted this whole thing, reworked a couple of songs. So Life of the Party, the actual song, sounds entirely different from the way it did before, and yeah, so I guess that's just like the whole concept of like just like how we constructed it. Yeah,
interesting. So it kind of just naturally took life. It came together from a whole bunch of different angles then.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like, because it was like my first release, like I didn't know know really too much what I was doing, and like like I had like the influences that I had already, but it was largely like me trying to find myself, and the writing style that I was doing I think is like entirely different from my writing style now.
Yeah.
And then there was also like everything that I do, it kind of like just reflects like where I'm at in life. So like that then is like me just like going through certain things of like reminiscing, because like I'm trying to become someone, but I'm like thinking about like all the cool shit that we did like growing up, or like, and then like seeing some other stuff like how like that party lifestyle can like take a darker toll. So I tried to like fit that into it as well. So like I would like to say that Life of the Party is like a concept EP as well.
Interesting. And as a whole, it kind of represents did it represent a phase change during like that particular moment, like 2016, 2017, or was it just kind of like something that happened way earlier on and then now you've released music about it?
No,
because you said you're reminiscing, but
yeah, well, okay, so it was like largely like I guess like taking like a spin and like an influence off of like my high school stories and like high school parties and stuff like that. And yeah, it did, like, it was definitely like me writing to release some of the stuff that I wanted to say, that I was like thinking about. And I think that's what I do with my anything that I release. It's like, this just needs to come out, this needs to happen so I can move on.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
And I noticed that because you definitely have a lot of conscious lyrics in between the heavy party vibes as well.
Yeah, it's definitely like it. Yeah, I like to get introspective, but then on the other hand, I also just like to write some party and bullshit type stuff.
I thought it was really cool because the Life of Party, the EP as a whole, now especially since I'm adding in Contradiction, and I knew T for One was part of it, but for me the theme was kind of like, I hate love for the lifestyle that you and everyone else seems to be caught up in, and you're just taking that internal perspective where you're talking to the scene as well as to yourself. Is it like, I don't know if as it related to you in the moment, but as it related to you in the past, you were saying it was relevant to like your high school lifestyle, but was this kind of the lifestyle you were involved in during that time as well, or maybe even still to this day? Obviously not like barring COVID and stuff, but just because you were performing a lot of shows, I'm kind of like wondering this.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think like one of the most important lyrics out of that whole EP that I wrote was on "I Don't Care," which features Melodica. But it was the party doesn't last forever, go home, man, which is like this thing where it's like we try to capture the good, like just like want to be in the party all the time, but it doesn't last forever, and you need to learn just like when to go home, when to stop, when to like when it's over, right? Like and I still have a hard time with that. Like I like to just have fun, and sometimes like when people are like, all right man, like I'm gonna go home, I'm like, no, like don't go home, like we're gonna have fun.
Yeah, stick around, man, it's not over yet.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like that's what that whole line like encompasses, like the whole thing. It's like this person that wants to have the party all the time, but it doesn't last forever, like just go home, man.
Yeah, for sure. Listen though, we're gonna take that quick break I told you about. We're at the 24-minute mark, so I'm just gonna hit the pause here,
and we're gonna listen to Krosst Out's track Life of the Party.
Are in the backseat, drinking Jack tea. No one called a taxi, that's why we're driving drunk. Vodka mixed with Five Alive, all up in the trunk. Tequila bottles, whiskey bottles, we ain't got enough. What we doing is risky, but we wanna have fun. Cranking 90s hip-hop, take weed in a Ziploc. Henny's almost gone too, cause we've been taking sips off. Swerving down this dirt road, but we almost hit a curve, yo. Laugh it off, the traffic's gone, half of us are blasted, dog. We ain't even at the party yet, but when we get there, the plan is for me to bust a rap and have an audience. Have the crowd go wild and then pass the bottle. We party like it's nothing, cause we've done this before. Breaking all the rules with the bottles on the floor. If you wanna see a party, then wait, what's in store? I'm the life of the party, the party, the party. We party like it's nothing, cause we've done this before. Breaking all the rules with the bottles on the floor. If you wanna see a party, then wait, what's in store? I'm the life of the party, the party, the party. Right away, whiskey to up in that driveway, have that gravel fly, yeah. Time to party. So thank God it's Friday, 'cause tomorrow's gonna be rough. My liver's gonna get beat up. Let's all crank the beat up. Let's all crank the beat up. This girl's not liking how I talk, holding me up against my words like it's my fault. Girl, I'm drunk, so I say what I want. I told ya, heinous 'cause I go hard, containing ice, vodka soda. I'm so hot, yeah, you know release your inner devil now. Raise a cup, make like Billy Idol, raise a rebel, yell, don't let it echo out. If you ain't with us, then you better check his style. We just trash his house, we just trash his couch. We got matches out, we gon' burn this grass into ashes now. People already passing out, it ain't even after hours now. These are the days of our lives, wasted or not, man, we drinking a lot. We party like it's nothing 'cause we've done this before, breaking all the rules with the bottles on the floor. If you wanna see a party, then wait, what's in store? I'm the life of the party, the party, the party. We party like it's nothing 'cause we've done this before, breaking all the rules with the bottles on the floor. If you wanna see a party, then wait, what's in store? I'm the life of the party, I've said that before. Man, you joking? This dude's trying to choke me, acting like a dope fiend. White smacked up coke, G. Why you trying to provoke me? Stop swinging the child, then I sock him back and knock him out. I'm feeling proud. In the corner, I see Cheryl passed out. Connie's barely breathing. Jason's in the Camry cheating. Justin's on the floor for some reason grieving. Everything that's seen him seems to be overeating. Everybody's having issues. I wanna be ignored and move to the back, 2 shots with Lauren. It's like my head got knocked by a forklift. I'm stumbling up, super bushes, I wanna stay calm, but I feel like I pushed it. There's windows smashed up, blood in the bathtub, everybody acts up. They saw the button in the back up, they're letting it sink in, then continue drinking. This house is a big pen, duck. Someone's about to pop the trunk, vomiting alcohol on the rug. I can't explain it, I think I'm wasted, I think I'm wasted. We party like it's nothing 'cause we've done this before, breaking all the rules with the bottles on the floor. If you wanna see a party, then wait, what's in store? I'm the life of the party, the party, the party. We party like it's nothing 'cause we've done this before, breaking all the rules with the bottles on the floor. If you wanna see a party, then wait, what's in store? I'm the life of the party, I've said that before.
All right, everyone, I'm back with Krosst Out. How you feeling, Krosst Out?
Feeling good, feeling great.
Feeling great, my man. All right. So before we left off, we were talking about your 6-track EP, Life of the Party. We were referring to how some of the themes in the EP were about. Would it be kind of like when the party's on, party hard, but when the party's done, just go home? Because just to reiterate what we said before we left off.
I mean, I guess it's like learning when to go home. It's also like, you know, you party so much, then like it's like sometimes like you just party for the sake of partying. Like, you know, in Campbellford of 3,000 people, there's not a whole lot to do. So
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
That's what you do. And that's sort of just what it was, you know.
That's wild. And also, so in that regard, you, I guess, particularly in the song "T for One," you point out some elements of the party that you don't necessarily agree with, and that's kind of where I draw the hate love for it. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, well, T for One was like an interesting track because it's like me pointing the finger at like 2 like make believe people.
Specifically?
No, just like make believe people. Like I'm just kind of like making them up.
Oh, okay, completely made up. I mean,
yeah, like they're not like real. I don't think in like any
degree.
But
they're embodiments of like elements of like different things that you do see, but all amalgamated, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, like it's kind of like there's like this woman there. It's like, you know,
fake lips.
Yeah, fake lips, and like, you know, no one told you you're beautiful. Like at the bar on a Tuesday, like that sort of thing. Like
yeah.
then the guy there that's like, you know, everyone knows those type of people, right? The guy that's like says he loves his girlfriend, but then he's at the club like cheating, like that sort of stuff, like
For sure.
and then like the girl that's just looking for like acceptance, and it's like, sorry girl, I can't be Bruce Wayne, like that sort of thing. And then
they're embodiments of like common personalities then.
Exactly.
These hypothetical people, yeah.
And then I kind of turn the thing on myself where it's like, you know, like I kind of make like a biblical reference where it's like I'm looking at the speck in your eye, but I've got like a plank in mine, like, you know, enough to build a shelf. Like, who am I to talk about, right?
Fair. Yeah, I see what it is. And that's why I love it, because you do draw the parallel between yourself, what you're talking about, between yourself as well as kind of the general like public, which I think is really cool.
I'm not above anybody. Like, that's the thing.
For sure. We're all kind of just cogs in the machine, right? We're just playing different roles.
Yeah, exactly.
Then after Life of the Party in 2017, you released what? So before I talk about this song, I know that every artist themselves. I don't know if this is true about you. For you though, do you have like of your tracks like a top 3 or like your favorite ones?
I always say that my favorite ones are the ones that I've just put out.
Your most recent ones? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like, I mean, I like to make music that I want to listen to also.
For sure.
And you know, if I don't like the song, then it won't come out. Like, I'm not gonna make it. And so I think like, I mean, Drive is such a cool song for me. Because it encapsulates
your most recent.
Yeah, like the most recent single. It encapsulates sort of like the sound that I wanted to go for the whole thing. It's like a forward sounding thing. Like, it's not like completely left field from like what I've done, but it's also like, this is like where I wanted to go. Like, this is the sound. And
for sure.
And then like that one, and then like there's some songs on my album that's coming out that are just like, me personally, I think they're amazing, right? Like, so I don't really have a top 3. Actually,
that's totally fair, and I feel you on that. And that goes with what we were saying about performing before, is that you just constantly, because since you're constantly getting better and constantly striving to do better than before, it would make sense that your most recent is your most prided on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I enjoy doing like some of my older songs just because like people know it and like they're fun to do. Like, I always enjoyed doing Off the Wall, and I really like doing Too Much on My Mind live, just because I think it's like such a like a fast paced kind of like, it's almost like a zany type of song where it's just like, and it's like really, it's like an easy flow to pick up on. So I like doing that one, right?
For sure. I think it's super interesting because when I asked you your favorite 3 tracks, I was thinking of it more of like for you to listen to. I wasn't really thinking of in terms of for you to perform, which is really cool to think about the difference between that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like, the problem for me is like when I'm listening to something, like I like to, it's like I'll have a vibe that I'm trying to listen for. So, you know, I might just like go back, like a couple of days ago, I just wanted to listen to End of My Rope just because, but I don't like doing that song live. And I think like there's songs, like the songs that I have on my album, I love them so much, but I would not do them live.
Fair. Interesting. The album that you say that is coming out soon, or this later this year?
In this month, actually, October.
This month? No way. Do you have a set date?
Yeah, October 26th.
October 26th. That's so soon. Do you? I'm assuming some of the tracks that you've released so far or recently are singles off of it. Probably Drive is one of those.
Yeah, correct. Funerals, Drive, and Edges. Yeah.
Edges, nice. Okay, so your last 3. That's dope, man. Any more singles to be released before the 26th, or is it just going to be that date and we're going to see the whole album?
You're just going to see the whole album. I mean, I kind of gave you what I had to give you. You know, I got a few things in terms of like, we're probably going to film like a music video, but it'll probably come out after the whole thing drops. And
how many tracks are on the album?
There's 8.
8. Okay.
Yeah,
that's dope, man. Going back to what we were talking about before. Sorry, we left off at Life of the Party. We're in kind of roughly 2017. I brought up asking you what your favorite tracks of yours were. Reason I brought that up was because this next track of yours was my favorite of your kind of whole discography there. What I was able to get a hold of. Window Seats, Getaway.
Yeah, really.
I really enjoyed it. I just because I didn't have the time to listen to everything repeatedly, I kind of obviously like went over just everything as a whole. But this would be the track that I kind of would go back to and replay first. What was your I don't know what the exact difference was. I can't tell you what made me feel different, but what, from your perspective in creating this track, what was different or the departure? Because I think this was the first one you released after releasing Life of the Party.
Yeah, it was. I released Life of the Party in like March 2017, and then I had already had this song for a little bit. So Myra Clarity and I wanted to work with him. I went to school with him. I met him here in Montreal, actually, like my first time here.
Yeah.
And he's great at just like production, and just he's like such a well-rounded artist. He's a great producer, a really good writer. So yeah, it was cool to just like work with him on this track. And so he was like, all right, man, like, so what's the vibe? What are we going for? I'm like, all right. So and we're both familiar with the bullshit of working in kitchens, and like you work so much just to like put out music. Like people don't understand like the lifestyle that we have sometimes, like just like working, like sometimes like I'll work like 60 hours a week for like 21 days straight, just to like try and like get some money to put together for studio time, get this album out, get like this happening, you know, like this and that.
Yeah,
so
it's a grind. It's a grind.
Yeah, so it was really like the getaway is like, and then like want to get away. It's like it's escapism. And
that's why I vibe with it so much, because it's so relatable in that regard.
I think so. Yeah, it's like, you know, especially now, man, we can't go anywhere. So
for sure, you might as well just stay home and grind, right?
Yeah, you know. So yeah.
Interesting. And I don't know if there's a parallel to draw here, maybe just because this track was released 3 years ago, but just because it's titled Window Seat, I'm just going to force the parallel here that your most recent track is titled Drive.
That's funny. I didn't pick up on that.
Well, I wonder. We'll have to dig into the lyrics later and figure it out for ourselves.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? I honestly, whenever writing something, I do find weird parallels between things that were unrelated or at the time seemed unrelated.
I think it's just because like the person, like it just, you're creating something as like as yourself, like your person.
It's like your core identity.
I just have a thing for window seats in general, so I didn't even think about that. You know, like I like looking out the window when we're driving. I like looking out the window while being on a plane.
You love scenics or scenery.
Yeah, you know, like sometimes like there's nothing better than just to be in like the backseat of the car at night, just like looking and like yeah, I really enjoy those. So yeah,
I feel you on that, man. And so in 2018 you released 2 tracks. Correct me if I'm ever wrong, by the way. You released 2 tracks with 2 music videos to go along with them, The Death of Me and Off the Wall.
Yes.
Given that these were music videos, I know music videos take a ton of work, but you only released 2 tracks this year. Is that because you were working on something else pretty heavily?
I mean, I wanted to be working on some stuff, and I guess that's kind of like when I had the whole concept for like what is now this album coming out.
Okay.
But
it was birthed around then.
Yeah, it was like I was just like writing a lot of stuff. I was working on a lot of stuff, and like I was just had like a lot of rough beats made from my friend that does like mastering and stuff. So he had sent me a bunch of stuff that I was writing on. I didn't use any of them, but it definitely helped get the juices flowing. And I also feel like in 2018, man, I don't know what I was on. I was on some bullshit. Like I feel like I wasn't good.
In terms of your music, or just in general?
Well, I did have like that sense of like whatever I release, it needs to be like better, and I don't know if I can make it better. Like
at that point in time, or like in general as well?
Yeah, I thought like for some reason I was like, man, like did I just like shoot my load and then that's it? Like that's it? Like
have I peaked already?
Yeah, like, and then like I genuinely thought that. I'm like, man, like fuck, like do I have nothing left? Like am I just like one of those artists that like or like people that like thinks he's an artist but is not? And like there was a lot of self-doubt, there's a lot of like bullshit that I was doing. I had like a pretty cushy job at the time, and like I mismanaged my money and like mismanaged my time, and like so yeah, 2018 was like, it was a good year I guess in terms of like touring and stuff, but like I really regret the fact I only put out 2 fucking songs that year, and like did not manage my time well at all that year. So
that's totally fair, and I didn't do you justice because you do live shows fairly often, and that takes a lot of time and effort as well.
Yeah, I suppose like and I just am like I don't manage my time well, so like I was trying to like book multiple things, like I was booking like my own tours and like shows, and like so like when I do that, then it takes away from creating music, and I have a hard time focusing on things like that. So
Fair.
and
So a few different elements just kind of killing your creativity in 2018.
yeah, there was a lot of stuff just going on that I feel like I just was not prepared for, and like it probably maybe like put me behind, I guess, maybe a little bit, but
Fair, totally fair. Life hits hard.
yeah.
In regards to your music creation around that time, as well as 2018, 2019 in general, you kind of focused on doing a few features there as well. You've got Jordell Downs, Static, and Spark Houston. As well, I'm noticing you've got a lot of other collaborative works in terms that you have other people doing live instrumentation for you. I think that's really cool. So my main question is, how do you get involved with all these individuals that you've worked with?
I just kind of meet them through like the chain of however you meet people.
Okay, just being in the environments again and just being friendly.
Yeah, just like you go to a show, and like that's how I met my boy Taboo that does drums.
Does drums, yeah.
You saw him on Off the Wall. Jordell, I hit him up actually for like just creating a beat. And then he's such a dope guy that I was like, yo, like I get a feature from you, and he said yeah. So then he's done a bulk of my my production and other stuff.
Nice.
A couple of songs on this upcoming album as well. Yeah, you just kind of meet people, man, and you just vibe with them, and you're like, yeah, like let's keep working together,
That's dope, man. And so for these tracks specifically that you did put out working with these other artists, did those kind of come together pretty quick, or were they kind of built over extended period of time?
I take my time on stuff. So Off the Wall actually was like, it took quite a while. We pieced together a bunch of stuff, and yeah, it took a while actually. All of my music seems to take a long time to make.
That's fair, man. A lot of effort goes into it.
I suppose, yeah. I'm not very good at like quick turnarounds,
Well, no doubt. And there must be a reason for that. Who knows if you'll ever come to that stage, right? But it's particularly in Off the Wall, though, I gotta ask, because you do have was it Jordell you said that did the drums there? No, Taboo.
Yeah, Taboo, and then so Taboo did drums, then my boy Andrew did guitar. They're both in the video, and then Jordell actually did do some work on that song too. He did like the piano stuff and like the little synth stuff that you hear. Like,
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So in a sense, was this track kind of done almost as a band?
It was almost kind of like a band, and yeah, it's funny because like people see that, and like I promoted that song pretty heavy, and once like people started thinking that like we were a band,
just through the promotion of that track.
Yeah, so it was really funny. Just like I had a lot of like critics being like, "Oh man, like you're not like, you should market yourself as like an alternative rock artist, not a hip hop artist." I'm like, but I'm a hip hop artist that does like.
But I write raps.
Yeah, you don't get it.
Yeah.
So that song was fun to do, but now like people seem to think that sometimes we're in a band.
But how did that song even come together then in that regard? Like, did you guys, did you kind of just bring different elements into something that you were working on, or was it kind of like a group decision?
Okay, so it was all my doing. So I hit up Taboo, and he just laid down some drums. I was like, yo, can I get like give me like a verse and like a chorus and a bridge, and then I sent him kind of like some reference songs, because that's usually what I do, is like I send some reference songs, and so he took that inspiration, laid it down, and then I was like, cool, man, sounds good. And then I arranged it, and then I kind of messed around with it like on my end, added some like bass vibes that I wanted to capture, and then I sent it over to Andrew, who did the guitar work, and I was like, man, this is fucking dope. Like, and then after that I sent it to Jordell, who just tweaked it like a little bit, like he just like added the piano thing, and like he just like brought it out even more. But I kind of orchestrated like where things need to go and like this and that, and so it was kind of like the first time me really doing that like on my own, like I outside of the studio. You
orchestrated it, yeah.
So it took a long time.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, I dig that. I like that. And then we'll bring it into 2020 since we're cutting it on time here. But you released 3 tracks this year. You've got a ton of free verses and remixes. Not a ton, sorry. You've got quite a few free verses and remixes on YouTube that you've done fairly recently as well. And in that regard, you've just kind of focused on putting out more content this year, obviously culminating to your October 26th album release. What's the album titled, by the way?
So it's called Phone Calls with Ghosts.
Phone Calls with Ghosts.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the theme of it a little bit? Since I'm going to assume most of your work that you've put out this year kind of relates to it, and that it's going to be kind of revolving around your identity right now, or as of this year.
Absolutely, yeah. I feel like 2019 was like when we were working on it, like, and then I thought we were done, and then I was like, nah, I want to add an intro track, so that took even longer. But it was definitely like, so Phone Calls with Ghosts, the concept is kind of, it's like this whole thing, because I feel like, so Life of the Party was very much like me reflecting on like the lifestyle of like my hometown, and like I still thought I was that person, but you know, a bunch of stuff happens to you when you are like out there living,
for sure.
And so not some, you know, there's some cool stuff that, or like not some cool stuff that happens, like some of your friends die, or like, you know, parents of friends that you knew in high school died, or like people in high school that you knew die, like for some reason, like people just die,
just
and like
unexpected shit.
That was like funerals where it was like, man, like I go to more funerals than weddings, and so it was like
That's
this
crazy,
like gray approach to things. And it's like, so the whole concept, I think, it was like Phone Calls with Ghosts. It's like, for me, it's like ghosts, like people were like go around chasing ghosts, but it's like these ghosts aren't like your typical spooks. They're the ones
It's not poltergeists.
No, they're not. It's the ghosts in this sense are your thoughts that that you always ruminate on. The ones like the people that you left behind, the ones you don't talk to.
For sure.
Like the, you know, my friends that died, or like, you know, these kind of things, like the person that you thought you were but you're not, and people have a hard time accepting that the person you are now, right? Like you know, not that kid that you used to know.
That's funerals.
Funerals, yeah, exactly. And it's very much that. So to get over things, you have to have conversations with ghosts. You have to have conversations with your past, and you know, that's the only way you can move forward, I think. So that's entirely me trying to move forward, and letting the people know who knew me back then, this is who I am now. Letting the people who know me now know who I truly am, and then like the people that don't know me yet will know that that's where I was, and those are all my ghosts.
So it's almost like an autobiography in that regard.
For sure, yeah. It's like, I mean, I think it's the best thing I've done in like 27 years of life.
that's dope, man.
So yeah,
it's the best thing you've done, but it's also like a compilation of all the things you've done.
Exactly,
or like a brief history.
My intro track is like, it's just like simply the intro track. It's like I just spill where I've been at, and like, you know, how I'm feeling about like Toronto, the life of an artist, how the fucking government like makes cutbacks, and like they fire my dad, and like, you know, these kind of things that like just happen in life, and it like kind of like briefs you for like the whole album, and then like it just kind of progresses that way, you know.
Interesting. So it's almost like a perspective on your history that's briefed you for the reality, I guess, of what you've come. Maybe it's not necessarily the reality of today, but it's the reality that's always been present, but it's just kind of more clear now.
For sure, yeah. It's like, it's an acceptance of who I was, but that's not who I am anymore. This is who I am. You know?
Yeah, that's really cool, man. I guess it exemplifies in funerals, because like we were saying before, you explicitly say it's the old you who you don't necessarily resonate with anymore. Well, maybe not you don't resonate with anymore, but you're just more kind of aware of.
Yeah, like, you know, I don't resonate with him too much anymore. It's like, you know, that was me, and like I accept that part of me, but like, you know, I did, you know, as a human does, like you do some pretty shitty things. That's like, yeah, yo, I'm sorry. I'm trying to move past that. Like I'm really not that person anymore. Like I'm trying to be a better person. Like, so to be able to like go forward in the future, you kind of have to like accept your past. And
I love that. Have you heard the quote? You pretty much said the quote there. I don't know who this quote is from, but are you quoting something there? to the future, you have to go through the past. I fucking forget who said that. Have you heard that before?
I've heard like variations of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm just mangling the original quote too, but
I don't know. It definitely is like it's out there. I've definitely come across that sort of stuff before.
Yeah, but in reality, it's just kind of sort of like a heavy truth. You can't really progress, and maybe that's kind of symbolizing your 2018 thing there, your stint there, where you lost all your creativity because you weren't really venturing through the past.
Yeah, I wasn't, and like I was trying to figure out who I am, and like I guess like 2018. Without 2018, like this album probably wouldn't have happened. So as much as I don't like it, you know, it had to happen for a reason.
Yeah, for sure, man. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And then along with the theme in Funerals of not resonating with your older self anymore, it kind of extrapolates into not resonating with the people who only knew your older self as well. And kind of that's why it's plural funerals, is because you might be letting go of those people as well. Is that true?
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, the whole like less weddings, more of these funerals. Like
That's wild.
I go to a lot of funerals. So
it has a literal meaning.
Yeah, since I'm going to all these funerals, fuck it, let's have one for me, you know? Like that's sort of the feeling around that. Yeah.
Interesting. That's crazy. And then so was there a reason that you released these 3 particular tracks off the album?
Well, Funerals was the first track that we ever did for this thing. So, and I thought it symbolized perfectly like how this project should be perceived. And then I wanted to release like something else before I released Drive, and I thought like Edges would be a perfect one because it's like a very different track in terms of like how I wrote things, and a very, very personal song that,
for sure.
And I thought it would be great as like another kind of way to
just show you what the album's gonna be about.
Exactly. And then Drive was like ultimately it's like my favorite song, and like the whole like this is like sonically what it is. So,
yeah.
Of course, like, and it's super like it's like quick. Like it's under 3 minutes, and it's just like this like kind of like anthem type song. So I wanted to like gas people up for it, I guess.
For sure, man. And I like that you say that this is sonically where it is, because even with the visuals, you stepped it up a notch, and visually this is where it is, because I really enjoyed watching the music video for that one. Let's put it that way.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we enjoyed making
cool.
It didn't turn out like exactly the way I was hoping for, just because like the snow kind of dates it. People like, you know, I put it out in July, and there's like snow flying, and they're like, what the fuck? It's like, well, I'm Canadian, you know.
This could be any time of the year as far as other people know.
Exactly.
That's dope, man. But we are going into overtime here, so we will do a bit of a sign off. Is there anything that you want to kind of, to anyone who's listening out there, just sign off on, let know, or anything you want to fill this space
I don't want to
with?
say anything like cheesy or anything, so I just like
don't go. Anything you want to say, even if it's just like peace. Anything.
I don't know, man. Thank you for having me. This has been
been great. Thank you for joining me.
It's been fun to just like chat about like the whole musical process, and yeah, man, I'm glad we could actually sit down and do this. So
hell yeah, dude. And I'm looking forward to your release later this month.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I am too.
Beauty. Well, thank you so much for joining me again, Krosst Out. It's been a pleasure having you, and I'll chat with you later.
Yeah, man, absolutely. All right, peace.
All right. Take care, brother.
And that was Krosst Out. I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you want to learn some more about him, you can head on down to www.reevolvemedia.com/Krosst Out. That's KROSSTOUT. And this is his track, Drive.
I think I've seen this before. So before you step outside, lock your door. Sunsets are paradise to people like me. Yeah. And with nothing without a little compromise. Look in my eyes when I'm speaking. I'll be going off the deep end. No doubt I'm leaving. So back the car and let's go. all you do is stay at home. I guess I'm down young, cause I'm living for today. Put that on my gravestone. And I love it like that. Ride for the night, I'ma bring you right back. Put your heart on my arm like another fresh tap. But they keep me this so we can drive like that. We ain't never coming back. But they keep me this so we can drive like that. We can drive like that. We can drive like that. It ain't much to me, it ain't much to me. I've wasted so much time and I still don't know what they want from me. So fuck it, now I'll be another drop in the bucket, yeah. And now I wish it was a bird, cause the ability to fly is something that I covet. So let's drive, I fly by these mountains, I love it, yeah. And I'ma hitch a ride on out of here. Gone down the road, I mean into the atmosphere. I'm just glad you're here. Hold my hand while we blast off. We're two astronauts and the world doesn't want us, but we don't want it either. Give me two more better reasons. Reasons are what we never needed.